And hello again for the final time in for this series. Actually, this is number 17, the last I want to say in this entire my current status or the of the Bionicle comic collection that I have right here for us. And I thought I'd just save the last comic or, of course, the last episode, just double-sided here for us. Now, no doubt that this is meant to be a mirror of the original here for us because we have Tahu in the front, the Kanohi How in the back. This time, not so corrupted, looking like a golden version of itself that we see there. Instead of the traditional Toa heroes that we had there, the Toamata or the Toa Nuva in their form, we do have the Stars series, starting with the Rakshi and just going its way over. Everybody knows Takanuva as well, but that is clearly what it's meant to mirror, just a newer version of its former self. And I'm going to go ahead and open one of these now. Now, just like sometimes, in the past that I mentioned, especially for some of the older comics, just like things get lost in the mail, or especially during that moving period, sometimes you just went ahead and got a duplicate copy somehow, and you're not even sure how. My guess is the Lego Club was just trying to get rid of its inventory of the final Bionicle comic, and they were like, you know what? We'll just go ahead and send you another copy. This is, of course, of March of 2010. I believe it was probably early or late March. I know there was like a spring break period that happened there for me. I think we went with the cousins to like Disneyland or something. That was a long trip. Yeah, that's all I remembered about it, didn't I? But anyways, here we are going up. We have ourselves both copies of this. And I think they're both pretty fine copies. I'm not going to go with very fine on either of them. Because again, I think these are one of the ones I just kind of left out a bit for it. This one is definitely of the finer quality. So I'll probably back this one up first. And then I'll go ahead and show you guys around the comic a little bit with the other copy. One moment. Now this was kind of full circle in a lot of ways. Like I said, this particular comic sort of mirrors, the OG, the original first issue of Bionicle, and I think they did a really good job. For starters, if I want to go ahead and bring that up there for us, a fantastic job. We have our golden shield and armor going all place. I don't know if they did as well a job for the sets. A lot of the articulation that you've been coming to, appreciate, knees, elbows, and things like that. Those worked out great. As it is, you can barely kind of pose up like the shield and things on the actual model of Tahu. In fact, if you don't mind giving me just one moment, I'll go ahead and show you what I mean. Maybe I should have pulled this out beforehand, just so we can go ahead and take a look at that. Now this one isn't like a full complete one. Mostly just has the shield, the golden how, whereas Tahu just has the shield. But as you can see here, these guys are forcefully bent. These these elbow joints, you can't really do anything with them at all because it's molded plastic, and the knees especially. You're just getting used to all this stuff. I mean, a little bit of head articulation goes a long way. You can have him look up at you and just kind of say, "Hello, world, how's it going?" And it does make a big difference even without having to move everything else around, but that's my point is, I don't think the Stars series was as popular for that reason. It was clearly just meant as a homage to say, finally, goodbye to Bionicle, at least for the time being. We all knew Generation 2 did come around. And some other references here and there, as well as a gift with purchase that is very recent. But this is the probably lower quality one of the two, as I mentioned before. And, just taking a quick glance here as to why I think, they're both either in the fine or very fine department. Uh, One little bend on the spine and not very too much effect here on the back where there's already a crease going around. The bottom corners, exquisite. The top corners, also looking pretty good. There's the focus, and it is looking very good. And the back cover, what do we have going on here? Yeah, something of a combiner set going all nuts. But of course, it's just, trying to, say, hey, you can get all this there for us. Now, it seems to be that there's a grand prize winner, too, for something there. I don't think I ever paid attention to that when I was trying to collect these. At this point in the collection process for me, it was kind of like, as soon as I got the comic, I immediately covered it up if I could. In this case, I definitely could. And so we have ourselves this original copy, all pretty much unread. Until the paper, I don't think the paper cuts came around or something like that. But essentially, wrapping up the story, Mata Nui in his much more obsolete robot form ends up slaying the Ultimatoran universe. Brings back to life Bara Magna, turning it into Spherus Magna once again. Kind of the origins of everything, including himself, where the great beings built Mata Nui and sent him out on his trip. Here's a picture of the fallen robot there for us, what the Matoran had lived in for so long, bleeding out of his head, or whatever you want to call it. I imagine that's where the city of Metra Nui was. It's probably just like the Great Furnace exerting its fumes or something like that. But in any case, it's the journey's end. Rebirth. And this is the final comic in the collection. I thought I had a complete collection, but I guess I'm missing a standard copy of issue number 26. I did all this in the same day, that's why I brought it up again. So what I'm going to have to do is just kind of create time and date to go ahead and make sure that is done. That way it will be complete. And maybe another inventory video in the future if I really do try to go down. Try and replace some of these, sticky note items. Like, for example, issue number 1 here that we covered in the very first episode of this inventory series. The ones I need replacements for have these little sticky notes on them, usually in a place where it covers up the least amount of the actual artwork on the title there. Now this one is already a very good condition, issue 1, June 2001. But I would love, at least for the first 3, yes, the first 3, I want to say, the original trilogy, have those, a duplicate of each, of similar quality. So that may mean having to get another number 2. I don't know if I want to yet, but that's something for another day. So we managed to get to this point on only the 10-minute mark. I'm not sure I have too much more to talk about given this collection. I know we did have a few cameo appearances, starting with the Nui Jaga, starting with the Rakshi, Levak, I believe, and maybe I got that completely wrong. Our Bionicle stars Tahu, which I guess I could just go ahead and lay him down. That looks a little weird. All right, well, around there, thereabouts. And, we did bring out the Toa Tahu with the Vahi mask as well, right then and there. And of course, in the very first episode, the model that started it all for me, and still holds a special place in my heart, is Toa Kopaka, standing right next to Nuju there now. I think the only other ones that kind of made cameo appearances are the cow here. Always, always a pleasure for the cow to come about, and also Toa Vakama. Not just in his. Maybe I could have him sit on the Nui Jaga. What the heck? Yeah, there you go. Riding a Nui Jaga in the town. This one's a tame Nui Jaga. We'll call him Violet. And this was everyone that has made a cameo in here, at least for the time being. I don't know if I'll ever come around to maybe reviewing any of these things, but yes, like I said, Kopaka, very first one that came into my hands as a child. So, again, he'll always be number one there. Of course, we had all the Taraga about this entire time. They weren't necessarily facing you guys. They were looking at me and making sure I was trying to get every note right of it. Obviously, I did not. There's just too much to get right, I suppose. But I did my best for you guys, but this was mostly about inventory for the comics, not my pronunciation of words or any names inside of the entire series there for us. About the only other one that I think was out, well, maybe that I wasn't thinking was out. I did want to go ahead and make sure that Kopaka Nuva, I might be getting a little quiet pointing away from the microphone. But Kopaka Nuva also had a quick cameo. Because again, who's he is easily probably the coolest one in my opinion. I was never really too big a fan on the Tahus. In fact, I never actually owned a Tahu until very recently. I think I mentioned in one of the previous episode, I was always mostly like a team Wairuha, or maybe I'm not saying that right, but that usually entailed the white, the green, and the blues. Didn't really bother me that the blues were mostly female or whatever like that. But whatever. The Gumatoran or the Tawagali. I'm not sure I have too much more to say then. I was trying to get this up to like the 15 minutes being the last episode there for us, but I think I'll just go ahead and call it. That is my entire Bionicle comic book collection. That is the current state of it as it is on the date of the 27th of March, 2023. If anything changes in the future, I'll be sure, I guess, to go ahead and post something. Maybe I could do an each individual comic kind of review, or run around. Honestly, I don't expect any of this to take off. So unless it does, I probably won't ever be getting around to any of that. But for now, I guess I'll go ahead and make sure that get these videos to you guys in the first place. So you guys have yourselves a good one. Do take care. Thank you for joining me on this inventory journey.